Hey everyone, just before we get into this video, I just had a bit of a disclaimer to throw into the ring here. During this video, I was meant to explain a little something about Battle of the Beasts here, about why there's no stats for the Series 25 and 26 Beasts. Those being, God, making me think now, A Course of the All-Seeing Ape, LYCAXA, Hunter of the Peaks, Glarky, Spear of the Depths, Diprox, the Buzz and Terror, Technos, the Ocean Menace, the Ocean Crawler, Malix, the Silent Stalker, Silexa, the Stone Cat, and Chiron, the Lord of Fire. I'm only explaining why there's no stats here, and the bios may sound a bit different to how they are compared to other bios. The bios are different because I wrote them myself, and I sent the script to it over to Lucas for him to do for the stats. As we are, I would say we are professionals when it comes to this, we don't know exactly what to do for the stats, so we just put it as NA, which means not applicable, meaning we don't have any data on them whatsoever. We even tried Googling it, and Google failed us yet again. But yeah, this just disclaimer, just explaining what's going on, why there's no NA stats here. And anyway, that I believe is all I needed to just throw into the ring here. So with that, enjoy the rest of the video. Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on my channel. I'm Adam and this is Battle of the Beasts New Generation Summary of Round 1. So basically this is a video which summarises the battles in Round 1 and basically the events that occurred in that round. So I realised I forgot my tablet, and I used my tablet just to help me figure out which beast killed what. So yeah, I'll be right back. So in round 1 we had 52 beasts compete in the tournament, and now we have only 26 remaining. That's simple division. Now during this video there'll be little stats. There'll be the little cards that popped up in each of the new generation videos, just saying their stats, their attributes and all that, as well as what their abilities are, their personality, whether it's cunning, ego, angry, and also as a special request from me to Lucas, my very special editor. Thank you, by the way. If he responds right there saying no problem or whatever, I would not be surprised. But that'd be kind of funny. But yeah, as a little request from me, I asked Lucas if he can put down which beast it killed. Each of these beasts killed in round 1, just so we can keep up with the score, and I won't need to be continuously looking through my new generation playlist for it. I mean, I'm doing it now for the simple reason it gives me something to talk about, and I can discuss how their battle actually went, whether I think they'll do well in round 2 or whatever. This is just a summary of who's through and how far I think they'll be going. As of the time when I'm recording this, I do know the matchups for round 2. However, for this, I'm going to be pretending I do not. Lucas has a really good guess why, because he also knows the matchups. I'm going to pretend I don't, because I like to remain optimistic, as it is said. And I don't want you guys to get the impression, oh, that means he's going to lose a beast that he's rooting for or something, because that's not the case. A beast I rooted for in round 1 lost, which was Akira. So it can't get worse than that. I was rooting for Akira and it lost. So anyway, let's get into this summary. 3 minutes in, wow. Okay, so starting things off, we have the only beast remaining in Series 14, which is FALRA, the Snow Phoenix. Now, throughout round 1, FALRA was the 17th battle of round 1, and FALRA actually killed Korvax, the Sea Dragon. Korvax I thought would be in round 2 easily with the other dragons, But due to FALRA's sheer intense heat and non-stop fightingness, it gave Korvax a disadvantage and not being able to heal herself as quick as she could. Also, something I need to mention about Korvax, heals herself in water. She has ice breath. Okay, so she was breathing ice on herself, but since she does have some body heat, it melts the ice into water, healing it. That's why I did that. Just in case if anyone was wondering, because I knew that someone was going to mention that at some point. I'm mentioning it now. Korvax heals herself with her ice breath because the ice melts into water. Ta-da. Doesn't matter anymore now, but it will matter in the next tournament. But yeah, FALRA killed Korvax, a very formidable opponent. With that under her belt, I think she can go rather far in this tournament. Probably round 3, maybe round 2, maybe round 4. I don't know, but she's already killed a formidable opponent. That has something to do with water. Technically ice more than water, but that's besides the point. I want to see her do well. However, I do not know if she'll do well as her key ability, which is bringing herself back to life after she dies, is gone. But don't worry, I'm sure she'll be fine. She'll be fine. If not, there's always the next tournament. But yeah, that's the only beast remaining in Series 14. So, a lot's riding on you, FALRA. Ravkor, Tychron, and Vizlak didn't do so well. Up next, we're going on to Series 15, where we have 2 beasts from this series here. And the first one is WARDOK the Sky Terror. WARDOK was actually the destroyer of KANIS in battle number 16. And what really surprised me here is that I thought KANIS was going to win that fight. But with WARDOK's personality being a non-stop fighter and absolutely ruthless of an opponent... Hold on. Oh yeah, I did close the window, okay. Being absolutely ruthless of an opponent, I was like, it could stand a chance. And seeing as that KANIS only has one ranged attack, which requires sunlight to use it, kind of like Solar Beam in Pokemon, it's going to take some time to charge up. So that gives WARDOK a perfect opportunity to just swoop in and attack like there's no tomorrow. And then gets away just before the range attack comes point blank and is able to dodge it whilst taking a bit of damage in the process. WARDOK did brilliant in that battle, and with his personality being a non-stop fighter and being a continuous fighter even when he's so close to death, he has a really good chance of making it rather far in the tournament. This is probably the underdog of this series, I'm not even going to lie. Obviously, I would like to see him do well because he's from a season which I absolutely adore. But if it's his time to go, it's his time to go, simple as. There are some beasts which he obviously will not be able to beat. But if he's going to go down... This is to every beast here. I'm going to make them go down fighting. And they're not going to give up. Because they're not allowed to. Okay, the second beast of Series 15 that made it through is PLEXOR the Raging Reptile. This one killed LARNAK in battle number 10. And probably had my favourite arena in the combat arena. Probably my favourite battlefield in the combat arena being the Quell arena. If we can have a little picture right over there, that'd be great. Well, somewhere on this stats page for everyone to see the Quell arena that PLEXOR fought LARNAK in. Looking at it now, it's probably no surprise that PLEXOR actually killed LARNAK like that. But LARNAK did have a chance, just not a great chance. That's probably a bit one-sided for PLEXOR, but PLEXOR needs water to actually fight. Depending what PLEXOR's opponent will be, I think PLEXOR could make it through to round 3. Because PLEXOR, let's be honest, is not the strongest beast out there. And I don't want to see him die because he is my favourite of Series 15. But like I said, if it's his time to go, it's his time to go. But luckily, there are some beasts that have made it through which aren't particularly strong either. If PLEXOR ends up going against one of those not particularly strong beasts, I'm not going to say any names, then PLEXOR can make it through to round 3. And round 3, when there's going to be 13 beasts remaining, he could possibly skip round 3 due to there only being 6 battles. 6 battles requires 12 beasts, and there's going to be 1 extra. He might skip straight to round 4, which I'll be over the moon with, obviously. But if PLEXOR loses in round 2, I'll be fine with that, because I don't want to see it. But PLEXOR, I know, isn't the best beast. And that's something I'm going to need to accept, because I like this beast for its story perspective, not the actual beast perspective. Moving on, we got Series 16 now, where, to my surprise, we actually have 2 beasts from this series. I generally thought there's going to be 1, but never mind, there's 2. So we're going to start off with the first one, numerically with this one, which is SOLIX, the Deadly Swarm. SOLIX actually killed SKRAR in battle number 21. As of the time I'm recording this, the most recent battle on my new generation playlist for the archive channel. So with this fight, SOLIX pretty much outplayed SKRAR and used SOLIX's abilities to his advantage by completely destroying her. Now, if SKRAR wasn't as prideful as she was, she probably would have won. And if SKRAR was just a little bit smarter and probably paid attention to SOLIX's stats, then SKRAR could have won by literally scraping her claws against the wall of the arena, just breaking SOLIX completely up, burying them in sand, and then just crushing them with a stone platform. It would be a simple win. Probably not as easy as that, but SOLIX won because SKRAR was too full of herself. That's why I gave SOLIX the victory. SOLIX has the power to make it all the way to the finals. Just like another beast which is coming up later, both those beasts have the power to make it through to the final because of how hard they are to hit. But anything to say about SOLIX? I don't mind if it goes far, because it was at one point my favourite of Series 16, but now it's not. My favourite is Book 4. I don't mind how far it goes. It could be an underdog, but if it's time to go, it's time to go. Like, there are some beasts which I know can beat it, but there are others which I know it can't. There are others which I know it can beat. There are others which I know it can't beat. It just depends what his opponent is. Moving on, we got the last beast of Series 16, my favourite of this series, KANIS the Shadowhound. Now, even though KANIS and SOLIX do originate from my least favourite series, I do need to mention KANIS and SOLIX are the best of that series. And seeing both of them through to round 2 just makes me feel like, man, I was right. I was right about that choice. Speaking of which, KANIS actually killed a quarter in battle number 9. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But KANIS, I think, might do all right, depending what her opponent depending what his opponent is. He may do well, he may not. He's got his pitchfork tail that can help, plus this ghostly form to make him not get hit so easily. But it really depends what his opponent is. If his opponent is something like, trying to think of an example. If his opponent is, let's say, Croco, he's screwed. There's no way around it. But if it's, let's say, SKRAR or LYPIDA, pick on the Series 21 beast, yeah, sure. KANIS may stand a chance. Now, there are beasts which KANIS can beat, there are beasts that KANIS can't beat. There are beasts like that for every beast here. Which is why this tournament is so interesting to me, because it may seem like there's an obvious winner. There was an obvious winner in the old generation tournament, being Koba. Koba lost in round 2. So, it does, just because it's a powerful beast in the book doesn't mean it's gonna win. Just ignore Specials generation. But that's besides the point. KANIS could win for all we know, but he needs to get really lucky with his matchups. But yeah, that wraps up Series 16. Best of luck to them, as well as the other seasons. Moving on, we got Series 17, and this is the first series to have 3 beasts through to round 1. No, through to round 2. And up first is GRYPH the Feathered Fiend. This beast won against Zulok in episode 1, and was a great pilot to this whole series as a whole. If I was to suggest one negative thing about GRYPH, is that I know it's not immortal. I know there are beasts that can beat it. GRYPH is my favourite of this series. Series 17 isn't a particularly favourite series of mine, but I need to be fair. I need to give all beasts a chance to actually show their strength. Some have succeeded, some have not. But depending on what GRYPH's opponent is, he can win, he can lose. But like I said with PLEXOR, they're going to go down fighting. That's the best I can say, really. Obviously, I like to see GRYPH make it as far as he can, because GRYPH is probably one of my favourite bird beasts there are. But that's simply because he reminds me so much of Lord Shen from Kung Fu Panda 2. So, that's probably a bit biased on my part. But with that being said, GRYPH, I hope he does well. But I personally think, on a beast perspective and battle prowess, the other 2 beasts of Series 17 might do better. Speaking of which, up next, THORON the Living Storm. Now, this beast is probably my least favourite of the Series 17 beasts to make it through, and my least favourite beasts of Series 17 in general. THORON killed Nasefa in episode 6, probably the most unsurprising victory here, because THORON had the straight up advantage by being against a mermaid. A water related beast versus a lightning cloud. That's a bad combination. Obviously that was the luck of the matchups, and THORON got really lucky there. It depends how lucky he can get in the next matchup, whether he will be just as lucky or not as lucky. But THORON is probably a lot of people's favourite to win due to how hard he is to touch. You can't win easily against a beast that you can't touch. However, there are some drawbacks of being a cloud. One, you could just get blown away by the wind. As seen in the book, you can get frozen over. Or, as I mentioned in episode number 6, THORON vs Nasefa, if there's a chance, if the beast that's fighting THORON gets close enough to THORON, they will find an orb inside of him. Not big, not small, just like the size of my hand. Knock it out of THORON, he goes all over the place. Break it, you kill him. Now, I only implemented that part though, as THORON, let's be honest, is a very overpowered beast. And he needs some drawbacks. I gave drawbacks to other beasts in the past. I gave drawbacks to the ghostly beast not being able to fight in certain arenas, or their ghost form in certain arenas. There was Mortax, which got weaker throughout each performance in Specials Generation. And there were other beasts which had some drawbacks where they had to rest after certain abilities are used or whatsoever. There are drawbacks with a lot of beasts here, just so the weaker beasts have a chance. But THORON, I think with all that aside, has a really good chance of making it through to round 3 and probably even further. Obviously, I would be indifferent to that because I'm not allowed to show favoritism here. But I say that, and I say THORON is my least favourite Series 17. But other than that, THORON has a chance of making it really far, and is probably has a really good chance of being a winner, if anything. Every battle I do with THORON that isn't very one-sided, like SO6 was, I can picture being a tough one for me to narrate. because I don't know how to do a battle where it's a thundercloud versus a beast that cannot touch it. I have an idea for what I can do with THORON's matchup that he's got for round 2, but it really depends on what the arena is, because the battle arenas for round 2, surprise surprise, are actually not going to be in the combat arena, because all these beasts kind of destroyed the combat arena. It needs to be rebuilt. So all these battles are going to be taking place at random points throughout the entirety of the Beast Quest world. So that means no clock arena for PLEXOR, and no half water, half land arena for Fluga and Rykar or something. I don't know. That's besides the point. Yeah, THORON, I don't really know what arena he's going to be in. I think he can adapt easily to any of them due to the fact he could just change shape at will and just be either really thin, really long, or really large and really not the opposite of long, short. That's not the opposite, but you get thin. That's the idea though. But anyway, moving on, the final beast of Series 17, SAUREX, the Silent Creeper. SAUREX was the destroyer of Styro in episode 7, actually, and the SAUREX only won against Styro for a simple reason: SAUREX used Styro's strength against him. If SAUREX is able to do the same thing in round 2, that would be brilliant. If not, then it might be the end of the road for SAUREX. But SAUREX is smart, and SAUREX is very clever and is very resourceful. He will find a way to win. Plus, he has the power of Camouflage, which makes him really hard to see. Camouflage is the opposite of ghostly abilities or gas forms. For the simple reason, even though you can't see them, they can't go. SAUREX is not able to go through stuff. He needs to make his way round stuff. Let's say there's a brick wall in the way. He can go invisible, but he can't go through it. He needs to go round it. Like any other beast would have to. That can't go invisible. But ghost beasts can go right through it, which is why I restricted that ability. They need to have the same stuff here. But SAUREX will be fine. SAUREX, with the vast amounts of abilities he has, as well as the impressive kill that he got against Styro, which is just a couple of feet bigger than him, but using his strength against him was an ingenious way of winning that battle. SAUREX, if he can do the same thing for round 2, he'll be fine. Moving on, we got 2 beasts of Series 18 now. Both of them I'm not really fond of, but I'm not really fond of any beasts of Series 18. So up first we have SOARA, the Stinging Spectre. This beast killed Quetzal in episode 4, and yeah, just killed Quetzal in episode 4. It was a kind of close one, but kind of not. I kind of went into this battle assuming that SOARA would win, because Quetzal honestly can't do much. So SOARA just won that one, I guess, by default. If there was one drawback to SOARA, I think it just has to be with the fact that I do not know much about her abilities. I just need to use what her ability stats say to my advantage to help her win. I feel like a mentor for the Hunger Games. I'm trying my best to help every beast win, but I can't show bias and show favoritism. If I see a beast really outmatched, they have to lose. If I see a beast neck on neck with one, I need to just narrate it and see where my mind takes me to the winner. There are times when I narrated a fight thinking one beast will win, and then it instantly gets killed by the opposite. That happened in Oko versus Chiron. But SOARA may stand a chance due to some abilities and the ability to just absorb her opponents into her dome-like head. She'll be fine. I reckon she'll be okay. She might make it through to round 3, she might not. Depends who her opponent is. Up next, we have DROGAN, the Jungle Menace. Now this one goes all the way back to episode 2, killing Greymon, the Bison Horror. There are now. Okay, before I talk about Drogan, there are some people who are not happy with Grymon losing. What can I do? Drogan has beaten Grymon fair and square. Don't worry, Grymon has a chance in the next tournament to make it further than round 1. No promises though. Drogan, in my opinion, earned that victory. All the beasts here has earned their victory against their opponents, some more than others. I'm looking at you, THORON. But yeah, Drogan is one of those beasts which earned their victory on a fight which I didn't think would be interesting, but turned out to be probably that didn't look interesting, but was a brilliant fight. I honestly love that fight. So that's some respect to Grymon, I guess. Hashtag justice for Grymon. It wasn't my favourite fight of round 1, but it was a rather good fight of round 1. Which is why I kind of enjoyed doing it, having Drogan with his Wolverine claws on his knuckles, his sheer size, and the fact he can cause earthquakes by just banging his fist on the ground, which gives Grymon the disadvantage. That's why Drogan won. Now, I see Drogan as a forgettable beast, but if he wins in round 2, or at least puts up a very good fight, I may not forget about Drogan as much as I already do. I mean, before this tournament started, I forgot Drogan existed. When this tournament started and Drogan made it through to round 2, I was like, wait, what? Who did he beat? Oh yeah, Grymon, of course. I keep forgetting Drogan exists. Drogan is the most forgettable beast to me, because I don't hate him to an extent that I hate Claw, but I don't like him to the extent I like other beasts. He's just very forgettable to me, hence why he's always rather low on my favourites list. But yeah, Drogan, if he does well in round 2, I may start remembering him. If not, that's it. He's just got nothing special going for him. But moving on to Series 19 now, we got two beasts from the Kingdom of Dragons that have made it through to round 2. And I only sound surprised here because it is surprising. I honestly thought the Kingdom of Dragons Series 19 will have 3, if not 4 beasts through to round 2. But no, only 2. Surprising. So up first we have VETRIX, the Poison Dragon. This one was a slayer of Quagos in episode 19. And that's pretty much all to say about that one. VETRIX was Quagos. On one hand was a rather one-sided fight, but on the other, it wasn't that one-sided. Because for the simple reason, it wasn't the most interesting fight, but it wasn't the least interesting fight either. It was just somewhere in the middle there. It was just an alright matchup, which I saw, yeah, I can use this to my advantage. And I did. However, the way I narrated it just made the battle go really quickly. Literally 1 minute is the intro, 2 minutes are the stats, that's 3 minutes in, and there's 11 minutes in total. I tried to make every fight at least 10 minutes long. I failed that most of the time, but this one is a prime example of a fight which just didn't go well in my head for me. So yeah, VETRIX won that fight for the simple reason there was no way I could see Quagos winning. But yeah, VETRIX made it through to round 2. This is one of my favourite dragons of the series. Not my favourite. We all know who my favourite is. It's everyone's favourite of Series 19. VETRIX is probably my favourite, one of my favourites of Series 19 for the simple reason I like the poison toxic beasts. The poison aspects to them. Torpix, Crestor, LARNAK to an extent. Falcor, VETRIX, any beast with the power of poison. Even if it's a beast I don't particularly like LARNAK, they will get a little boost up because of their toxicity powers. And VETRIX started out as my favourite Series 19, but after I read this one got out overclassed. But VETRIX, I think, could do well in round 2. Depending who his opponent is, he'll be fine. I actually can't remember his opponent, and I only found out the matchups a couple hours ago as well. I have a good guess who his opponent is. It's actually, I do not know who his opponent is. Trying to think. Okay, not you. Okay, I think I found out who VETRIX's opponent is. No, it's this one. Okay, I just remembered who VETRIX's opponent is. Okay, that's good to say. Yay! Okay, I'm just glad I remembered that. I'm not going to say who, because I'm not supposed to. I'm not going to say, because there's the elements of surprise here. But VETRIX, I think, stands a rather good chance against his opponent. If there was one negative thing to say about VETRIX, it's probably to do with the fact that he is rather slow. He's not the fastest beast out there. He's a rather slow beast, which could be the downfall to VETRIX. But don't worry, Stritor, the skeleton dragon, might help VETRIX by carrying Series 19 when VETRIX eventually goes down. Both of these beasts, with their opponents, they both may make it through to round 2. Or they both may make it through to round 3. Now, I actually do not remember Stritor's opponent for the life of me. Series 19, I do not remember any of their opponents. But Stritor was... Wait, I said who VETRIX killed. In round 1, Stritor was the destroyer of Electro. That was quite a good fight, actually. I enjoyed that fight. But Stritor's round 2 opponent, I think, would be a bit of a different matchup for him. It's not going to be one of those, simple walk in the park kind of things. It's going to be a proper fight. So, if there's going to be anything for Stritor to use to his advantage, he can use the field. He's a smart beast. He's a clever beast. He can use the fields that he's in to his advantage. He can use his disassemble and reassemble himself to his advantage. And depending who his opponent is, if his opponent can't break the bones of Stritor, he'll be fine. But if he's going against an opponent which is powerful enough to break bones, Stritor may have a bit of trouble, but that doesn't mean Stritor is going to be down for the count. Stritor has just as much chance as any beast has to win. Being made of bone, that makes him a bit harder to hit, because any projectile weapons can just go right through him if the timing is just right. Not saying it will be, but that's besides the point. Stritor and VETRIX, I would like to see make it through to round 3, both of them, but not knowing what their opponents are, or not remembering anyway, they may make it through to round 2. No, they may make it through to round 3. They may not. Obviously, I'd like to see them do well compared to other beasts, but I honestly, for the life of me, cannot remember what their opponents are, so I can't give a solid, accurate representation. But that's good. I don't really want to give any hints on who their opponents are. But I think they might be fine. They'll be fine. They both have great abilities. They'll be fine. Moving on to Series 20, we only have the one beast remaining, and wow, okay, and that is SOLIX, the Snapping Horror. SOLIX was the destroyer of MENACE in episode number 13, unlucky number 13, but that was just unlucky for MENACE. SOLIX was lucky enough to win. Now, I remember episode 13 for the sheer reasoning because it was SOLIX versus MENACE, and if it gets edited in again, that'd be brilliant. it was basically a battle of a sword versus a shield, and normally I pick the sword, but in that case the shield won because the shield had the power. Oh, bad. Okay, rephrase that. Had the power of a melee weapon on his side as well. The shield had a weapon on him as well. So SOLIX had the power of a sword and a shield, but not the sword, a mace on his side, which made him win. It was no competition for me on who his opponent, on whether he or MENACE would win. But SOLIX won, and quite frankly, I'm kind of glad SOLIX won, because I didn't want to have an entirety of one series get eliminated in round 1. I mean, Zulok lost to GRYPH in episode 1, Rykar lost to Fluga in episode 3, and Akira lost to LYPIDA somehow in episode 22. So I'm just glad not all of series 20 died in round 1. But yes, SOLIX beaten MENACE in round 2, and it's kind of a good thing. SOLIX, I would say, is probably one of the stronger beasts around of series 20 with the defense anyway, with its defensiveness anyway. So SOLIX could win due to how defensive he is, and he has a weapon on his tail. I do not remember who his opponent is, but if his opponent is a rather fragile beast, or a beast that can't get under his scales, SOLIX would easily win round 2 and go through to round 3 and maybe round 4. SOLIX could be the underdog of the series. I do not know. I normally overlook the beasts with the defense on them, but there are a good handful of beasts that made it through to round 2 that have quite a good amount of defense on them. There's SOLIX, there's Crotax, there's Morax, there's Technos. That is all of them. Good amount of defense, like I was saying. And if they can just take a barrage of attacks and then just hit a more powerful one back, they'll be fine. And SOLIX is a prime example of one that can hit just a powerful attack back. Like I said, I do not remember SOLIX's opponent, but he might do. SOLIX has a good chance to make it through to round 3. Moving on, we've got series 21 now, where we only have 2 beasts remaining in that series, and one of them is SKRAR the Night Scavenger. Now, SKRAR is probably one of, if not the most powerful fire-related beast there is. For the simple reason, he can generate so much heat where he can evaporate a whole lake of water within an instant, within a snap of the fingers.
I am inevitable.
But there'll be a drawback to where he would need to rest for a while. That is his drawback, but ignoring that, if he is able to savour up his heat or his energy throughout the battle instead of all at once, he could win. He did that in episode number 18 against Vizlak. Surely he can do it again against his opponent. I do not know who his opponent is. Hopefully it'll be a good opponent. I don't know. But SKRAR, I would love to see make it further into the tournament, because, as I said in episode 18, he's playing out awesome. I was meant to say flat out awesome, but I said playing out because I can't speak. But unfortunately, as I also said in episode 18, it would be great to see SKRAR and whoever his opponent is make it through to round 3, but unfortunately, only one can be crowned a victor. But that's besides the point. SKRAR may do well, he may not, I don't know. I do not know who his opponent is, but it was great to see SKRAR win in such a great way in episode 18. If he can do a great way in round 2, that'd be brilliant. But anyway, moving on to the second beast of Series 21, and quite frankly, I'm surprised this beast actually made it through, is, LYPIDA, the Shadow... Really? The Shadow Fiend? The Shadow Fiend. This one, LYPIDA actually killed Akira in battle number 22, which honestly surprised me. because I was not expecting Akira to die this early in the tournament. Akira was one of the beasts that I was rooting for in this series, and for him to die in round 1, it caught me off guard. But as I said in that battle, LYPIDA is very clever. If she knows that fire hurts her, even though she's as a moth attracted to light, if she knows it'll hurt her, she'll be clever enough to just snap out of it and go back to the battle. And that's exactly what happened. And being agile and very slender, she's able to avoid all the fiery attacks that came her way, as well as the chain whip. Using all those powers to her advantage, she may make it through to round 3, which I love to see, because LYPIDA, in my opinion, is a very underrated beast. Constantly overshadowed by SKRAR and Tyrantix, but Tyrantix is dead, so. But that's besides the point. LYPIDA, I don't know. Both LYPIDA, my favourite Series 21. I would love to see make it further into round 3, or do very good in round 2. And if LYPIDA is to go down, stay with me. He's gonna go down fighting. Oh, sorry, she's gonna go down fighting. Moving on to Series 22 now. Man, we're 40 minutes in, and we only got a handful of beasts left. Ugh. This is going to be an hour-long video, probably. Okay, so we only got 2 beasts of Series 22 here. And the first one is LARNAK, the Swarming Menace. Now, LARNAK actually killed THORON in episode number 8. And that battle is just a mediocre battle. It wasn't a very obvious winner battle, but it wasn't going to be a brilliant battle, because it seemed a bit obvious who was going to win, but it wasn't clearly obvious. With that battle, I kind of made it where LARNAK kind of got inspiration from Kreta to do some of his attacks, take him down from the inside, and I was so upset to find out that THORON and LARNAK does not have very many views. Because I was like, people will like that link to the special generation with Cress's whole abilities. No one barely anyone watched that video. I was so upset because I was like, okay, there goes my time wasted. Okay, brilliant. But hopefully in round 2, LARNAK can yet again prove that he is worthy of making it, of being one of the last few Series 22 beasts to make it through. I'm kind of glad LARNAK made it through, actually, because as I said multiple times, I do like my bug-related beasts. And if they're up against an opponent where I know they just can't win, I have to make them lose. But LARNAK was up against an opponent in round 1 where I know he has a chance. And even though LARNAK is, one of his weaknesses is sound, he was able to drown out that sound of his loud buzzing. Moving on. Other than that, LARNAK, he may make it through to round 3. May not. I don't know. I'd like to see him make it through to round 3. But honestly, I would like to see Durog Hammer of the Jungle make it through to round 3 more than LARNAK. That's saying something. I don't like my Monkey Beast, yet I prefer this one to make it through over LARNAK. What does that mean? That means Durog is a damn good beast. That's what it means. In round 1, Durog killed Talker, the Sky Snatcher, in episode number 20. And that battle was a rather good one. I did not know who was going to win that fight at the time. I was thinking, it might be Talker, might be Durog, I do not know. I gave the victory to Durog, though, due to the fact that Durog is very large and just around the same height as Talker. And with that, Durog is able to, it should be wide enough to be able to hold each of Talker's beaks open or shut, to the point where you just break them. And using his spiked red steel mace of a tail, he can just finish off his opponents there. Depending who Durog's opponent is, he'll make it through to round 3, he may not. Durog, in my opinion, might be the dark horse to win. Because Durog, with the amount of limbs he has, he can make it through. But he can also handle more than one opponent, which is why I think Durog may do very well in this tournament. Obviously, I'm glad to see him through to round 2 because I didn't want Durog to die instantly in round 1. But then again, I didn't want Talker to die in round 1. But look what happened to that one. But that's besides the point. Durog did brilliant and deserved that victory. His opponent in round 2, I do not remember. But I think it'll be a rather interesting battle. Moving on to the only Beast of Series 23. Crotax the Tusk Destroyer. And as of all the Beasts in Series 23, I'm glad it was this one. Because apart from the obvious, Zircon, Crotax is actually my favourite of Series 23. And in round 1, Crotax killed Diprox in episode number 15. And after Crotax watched her teammates Querzol and Querzol, Talk and Zircon die, he realised he's the last hope for Series 23. Now I can't remember Crotax's opponent, but I think if I'm remembering correctly who his opponent is, this is going to be an interesting fight. And it's probably going to be one of the last fights of round 2 as I order it in least interesting to most interesting. This one probably going to be near the top, as it is a very interesting matchup. Crotax, what I will say, being a walking defensive death machine, being able to take a lot of hits and give a lot back, this one is going to be a tough mammoth to beat. And is certainly an improvement of Tusk. I'm happy this one made it through to round 2. Unlike Tusk. But Tusk skipped to round 2 because she's a lucky little mammoth. She's bigger than Crotax. That's besides the point. As you can probably tell, I do not like Tusk. Anyway, Crotax, I hope he does well. But if it's his time to go, it's his time to go. He'll go down fighting. He'll go down like a champion. I don't know why I said champion like that, but okay, moving on. Moving on to Series 24 now. We have only 3 beasts that made it through, and unsurprisingly, it's 3 beasts to make through to Series 24. I thought all 4 would, but no, Electro had to lose. But that's besides the point. So yeah, there are 3 beasts that make it through to Series 24, and considering Electro died, we know who they are. Fluga the Sightless Sliverer, Morax the Wrecking Menace, and Kroko the Father of Fear. Now, okay, with all these, I'm just going to put them together for the simple reason this video is getting too long as it is, and I got the same thing to say about all of them as it is. So Fluga killed Rykar in episode 3, Morax killed Krytor in episode 11, and Kroko killed Zircon in episode number 26. Now, all 3 of them, I will need to say if there's... Okay, I will say a quick note to Lucas here. As I'm talking about all 3 of them at once, can we just have their stats appear one after the other, or just all at once? That'd be brilliant. I don't mind. It's up to you. But that's besides the point. Yeah, all 3 of them, they're all brilliant beasts. They all deserve to make it through to round 2. I would say that Electro deserves to make it through to round 2, but unfortunately he didn't. But all 3 of them are brilliant. They all have a very good chance to make it through to round 3 due to how powerful they are. If I was to pick one of them to not make it through to round 2, not make it through to round 3, and die in round 2, considering I don't remember their opponents, I think Fluga might die first, due to the fact that Fluga isn't as defensive as Morax and isn't as powerful as Kroko. So yeah, Fluga I think would die first out of those 3, but it depends how I order the fights in round 2 and any future battles they're in. and who Pfluger's opponents are. Moving on to Series 25 now, we've got 2 beasts, so a bit easier for the stats to be shared between them. We got LYCAXA, Hunter of the Peaks, and Glarky, Spear of the Depths. Now, these 2 beasts, I'm actually really happy both of them made it through, because they're both the best of their Series 25. They're both the best of Series 25. LYCAXA killed Wrathcore in episode number 14, and Glarky killed Tyrantix in episode number 23. Both of them did absolutely brilliant to make it this far. Both of them did brilliant to make it this far. I do not know who their opponents are, but hopefully they'll do great. I hope so anyway, because I don't want to see them die. But if it's their time to go, it's their time to go. They both did brilliant to make it this far. They both deserve to make it this far. And if I was to pick one to make it through over the other, I would pick LYCAXA, because LYCAXA has, in my opinion, better abilities and has the advantage of not having to rely on the water. But yeah, Glarky also is quite good as well. Glarky might stand a chance as well. Now, moving on to the final series. Now, I'm gonna show all 3 of these beasts together, because I don't want to run out of storage space on my phone, and I don't want this video to go over an hour long. I've got 10 minutes left, and knowing how much I talk, this section of beasts I may be talking over 10 minutes with. So yeah, let's get into this. Technos the Ocean Crawler, Manix the Silent Stalker, and Chiron Lord of Fire. Technos was the destroyer of Xeric in episode 12. Manix was the destroyer of Quag in episode number 24. And Chiron killed Okko in episode number 5. All 3 of these beasts did very well to make it into round 2. And all of them have a special attribute to them which makes them a force to be reckoned with. Technos, his defense. Manix, the fact he can regrow heads and multiply them. And Chiron, he can fly and has control of fire. All 3 of those beasts definitely deserve to make it through to round 2. Definitely over SOLIX anyway. I'm sorry, SOLIX, I love you, but you're not as good as the others. I prefer SOLIX as a beast over Technos, but Technos deserves to make it through to round 2 due to how defensive this beast is. Now, because I really cannot remember their opponents, I like to think they all have a good chance of making it through because of how powerful they are. But if I was to pick one to root for and support to make it through to round 3, even though it's not my favourite beast of this series, and even though he does have his flaws, I'm picking Chiron. For the simple reason, he has control of fire. He can do whatever he wants with this fire. Plus he can fly. So he can stay out of land beasts' reach, whilst also restricting their land flow due to the fire just seeping up through the ground, just surrounding that beast. He can literally trap a beast and kill it like that. And depending who his opponent is, it will be an easy fight or a difficult fight. Chiron almost very nearly lost against Okko in round 1. And Chiron may almost nearly lose to whoever he's going against in round 2. Or just flat out lose. Or win. I don't know. Same with Manix and Technos. They're both, well, Manix more than Technos. They're both very close to losing in their respective battles. But they found a counter against their opponent and used it against them. Technos counters Xeric by simply keeping his mouth shut, but then realizing he can still breathe. His mouth is inside of his other mouth, and he can breathe through the little gaps that's left in this bigger mouth. So he's like, okay, we'll just bend his jaw backwards, open his mouth so where it just snaps open. That's what he did. Maddox, realising Quark keeps flying, if he keeps turning into wood, he'd fall down, break, the wood would break, and the stone would just get chipped. Do that time and time again, dead. Not to mention Maddox is agile enough to dodge the stone beams, hence why he didn't turn to stone. But yeah, they all have a great chance of making it through. And with that being said, that's the 26 beasts that have beaten round 1 and is through to round 2. Now, I'm not gonna pick a favourite to win here, because so many of them I would love to see make it through to round 3, and so many more I would love to see win. And I don't want to make a decision on who I want to see win, because I know I'm going to be disappointed by having the one I want to win not win. I got a 1 in 26 chance picking the winner here, and I'm not doing that. But even though I'm not going to do that, everyone in the watching this, let me know who you think is going to win. This is a 55-minute long video, close enough anyway, of me talking about the 26 beasts that have made it through to round 2. But with that being said, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below. I will not be doing round 2 until after my holiday, which will be in the next few days, and I will not be doing round 2 until August. But that being said, peace out.